Have you 10 to 1 outnumbered? Seems like everybody up and left and they're not coming back. The shadow that you're standing on still here, and somehow that's all you can ask. And your heart's still beating. You're not the fastest drawing town now. How many times have you been shot down now? Seems like everybody else could see the things you never did. But if you could yourself, you'd probably never have made it through the things that you did. And your heart's still beating. Dog days of the summer, have you 10 to 1 outnumbered? Seems like everybody else saw trouble sneaking up behind. Left you half dead in the street, but that just means you're half alive. And your heart's still bleeding. I used to ride with a vending machine repairman. He said he'd been down this road more than twice. He was high on intellectualism. I've never been there, but the brochure looks nice. Jump in, let's go. Lay back, enjoy the show. Everybody gets high, everybody gets low. These are the days when anything goes. Every day is a winding road. Get a little bit closer. Every day is a bit inside. I get a little bit closer to feeling fine. He's got a daughter that he calls Easter. She was born on a Tuesday night. And I'm just wondering why I feel so alone. Why I'm a stranger in my own life. Jump in, let's go. Lay back, enjoy the show. Everybody gets high, everybody gets low. These are the days when anything goes. Every day is a winding road. I get a little bit closer. Every day is a faded sign. I get a little bit closer to feeling fine. I've been swimming in a sea of anarchy. I've been living off coffee and nicotine. I've been wondering if the whole things I've seen were ever real, were ever really happening.
Ever really happening.
Every day is a winding road. I get a little bit closer. Every day is a faded sign. I get a little bit closer to feeling fine. Nice. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yep. I wrote down which ones I was doing. There we go. We're in C? Yes.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fold and the major left. The baffled king composing hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Well, your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. And she tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne and she cut your hair. And from your lips she drew a hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Well, maybe I've been here before. I've seen this room and I walked this floor. I used to live alone before I knew ya. And I've seen your flag on the marble arch. Love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Maybe there's a God above, but all I ever learned from love was how to shoot somebody who outdrew you. And it's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not somebody who's seen the light. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
a time when you let me know what's really going on below. But now you never show that to me, do ya? And I remember when I moved in you, the holy dark was moving too, and every breath we drew was hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
Wow, that was fantastic. Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Arlington. My name is Barbara Bazell, and I'm a grateful member of the Board of Trustees. Today, in case you forgot, is Sunday, July 9th. Whether this is your first time joining us or your regular Sunday morning destination, we're glad you're here. UUCA is a church of radical love and acceptance, open to all people of all backgrounds, races, genders, sexual orientations, disabilities, and abilities, both seen and unseen. At UUCA, we encourage people to come for community, find inspiration, and live with purpose. We also would like to extend a warm welcome to our guests here today, both here and online, who are joining us as part of the Potomac Partnership and/or curious to see what our community is about. You know that today kicks off our Six Sources Summer Series with a personal exploration of humanist teachings. After today's service, Bill Fogarty will be facilitating an open discussion on humanism and anything in the service that sparked for you. If you're interested, you can join Bill in the boardroom immediately following the service. That's out this way and over on that side. Last week, we created some art together, filling in some paper mosaics. These mosaics will be available to continue coloring before and after service this summer on 2 tables in the fellowship hall, which is directly behind us. Maybe we can finish them by the end of the summer. And finally, this afternoon, Voice will be joining hands with its coalition partners, the Virginia Association of Chiefs of Police and the Virginia Hospital and Healthcare Association, and asking Governor Glenn Youngkin to fully address the mental health, opioid, and overdose crisis affecting our youth. The Springtide Research Institute has published that 61% of youth say adults don't understand how much they're struggling with mental health. Virginia ranks 48th in the U.S. for mental health care for youth and 20th for adults. We'll all gather here at 1 p.m. and a bus will leave UUCA at 1:30. You could also meet us at the Mount Zion Baptist Church by 2:30 p.m. Stop by the Voice table after today's service for more information about this action. Thank you for joining us today, and again, welcome.
Oh, I'm sorry, Greg.
Good. Yeah, thank you. Welcome, folks. I'm so glad you're here with us in the sanctuary or online. You might not have known that you were in for a mini concert today from some wonderful musicians, Matt and Steve and Topher and Jesse, who's our interim music director. But I want to let you know that the Potomac Partnership is an opportunity for UU congregations in the area to visit one another during Sundays this summer. So this is our Sunday to host. You are welcome, and you can check the website for more information about that series and partnership. But also extending a special welcome to anyone who's joining us here in Arlington or online as part of that partnership. Welcome. You're invited now to turn to your neighbor and extend a welcome or greeting as we settle in this morning, and we'll come back into the call for worship. It's okay.
I just missed it.
That's okay. Here's what I have. Is we're going to do the call worship. We're going to do the candles, and then the opening hymn.
I just jumped in. I got excited.
I do the same thing all the time. It's all good. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I got a couple up here. Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah, no, I just got excited.
That's great.
Oh, it's fun today. Yes. Yeah. Wow. You have a seat below seat? I see.
That's fun.
I've never heard. I really don't. I mean, there's some folks who really like.
Yeah.
So are you new to UCA or covering children?
No.
Just new to playing with us?
Just new to playing. I mean, I got 2 little kids, and so it's always hard to, I was teaching Sunday school last year.
Okay.
And I'd like to play more, but, just kind of warming back up and everything like that. So, yeah.
How old are my kids?
9 and 10.
Okay.
Yeah, so 5th and 6th grade now. What about yourself? You have one daughter?
So that's my stepdaughter. She is starting in 8th grade.
Oh, great.
She's 13.
Yeah.
Then I have another stepdaughter who's actually 20, who's 10.
Oh, okay.
Because I turned my unit off so I could say hello to people without it being broadcast. Welcome back. Come one, come all. Come with your missing pieces and your extra screws. Come with your hard edges and your soft spots. Come with your bowed heads and upright spines. Come, all you flamboyant and drab, verbose and quiet, fidgeting and lethargic. All you with large vision and tender hearts, all you with small courage and tender fears. Bring your lisp and your stutter and your song. Bring your gravel and your drawl and your lilt. Bring your anger and your joy and your indignation. Misfits and conformists and everyone in between, come into this space and be welcome. Bring who you are. Bring where you've traveled. Bring what you long for, and let us worship together this morning.
Good morning. We light our candle of compassion every Sunday in solidarity and support of people here and around the world. This morning, we light our candle especially for those in our community and everyone who is struggling with mental health challenges, those who are suffering from the direct effects of climate change, those who are dealing with addiction, those who are told their identities are less than or who are not free to live into their authentic selves, those who feel lonely, lost, or unsure about what comes next in life. We hold you in the light of love as we light this candle of compassion. Now we will light our chalice. I will say the first few lines, and then please join me in the rest of our ritual. We gather together as a community of memory and hope to celebrate life and its infinite possibilities for love. We light this chalice as a symbol of the light within every human heart. May our individual sparks meet and merge, bringing both light and warmth to the world.
And now our opening hymn is number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Is our life, we sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life.
At this time, I'd like to invite Matt to come up and share the wisdom lesson with us this morning. And for any of the young folks, if you'd like to come up and join us on the chancel, you can bring your adult with you, and children of all ages are welcome to come up to the chancel.
Okay, we've got a great story today. Come on up, you all can sit down right here if you'd like. Okay, some new faces, some old. Good to see everyone. How are you this morning? Good, good, good. Great, well, we're going to read a book called The Circles All Around Us. And I want you to picture in your mind this story as we go. because it involves drawing circles, bigger and bigger, as we think about the world in which we live. Does that sound good? So here we go. We begin by drawing a circle on the ground along each shoe. Can you make a little circle around each shoe? Bingo. A safe little place for just one person. Nobody in this circle but you. You could keep that circle closed to everyone but yourself. But that would be like a library with just one book on the shelf. So let's draw a bigger circle for you and your family to share. Draw a bigger circle. See a little bigger one? Awesome. Now you see all that can happen in a circle full of care. It becomes a happier circle as more loved ones come to stay. And in the book, for those out in the audience, we've got Granny Dot and Papa Bit. We've got Uncle Hank and his dog Barkley and many other visitors into the circle. And wouldn't it be even better if all of your friends could come and play? So you stretch and draw your circle even bigger than it's been, and let a few more people know that they're welcome to come in. In the circles all around us, everywhere that we go, there's a difference we can make and a love that we all can show. Yet there are still so many outside the circle who are different in all they do. Though it feels slightly uncomfortable, we draw a bigger circle for them too. It doesn't mean the circle is easy. It can get harder the more we share. But wonderful things can happen when love is known and felt everywhere. As time passes, our eyes open. We see others we really care for. And that's when we ask ourselves, well, what's this circle really there for? So let us create bigger circles all around us for the rest of our days. Let our caring ripple out in a million little ways. In the circles all around us, everywhere that we all go, there's a difference we can make and a love that we can show. As our circles grow and grow, and we watch them wonder-eyed, remember the first circle started with just the love you hold inside. The end.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. And thank you, kids, for coming on up this morning. And we're going to sing you out as you go down to your classes.
Peace to you on your way. May you grow in love each day. Meeting new friends and opening your mind to the wonders of the world you will find. To the wonders of the world you will find.
So I invite you now into a time of meditation. And everything in this time is an invitation. You know your body best, so only accept the invitations that feel right for you. If it helps to give yourself permission to become present, you might soften your gaze or even close your eyes. Take a few full breaths or breathe in a way that's most comfortable for you. And with each breath, settle into your seat just a little more. Let your seat hold your body, and let the floor hold your feet or your wheels. As you continue breathing, check in with your body. How does your body feel in this moment? Just notice what's there. What sensations are you feeling? And with each breath, just notice and relax. Your feet, your legs, your hips, your belly, your back, your chest, your shoulders, and your arms, your neck, the back of your head, your face, and then the top of your head. As you're breathing, rest your awareness on a central point in your body. Maybe your head, or your chest, or your belly. As you inhale, breathe into that place in your body. And as you exhale, breathe out from that same place. And now, check in with your heart. What are you feeling in this moment? What emotions are present for you? And you might be feeling more than one. Maybe you're feeling a story emerging for you. Just acknowledge that story and continue breathing. Whatever you're experiencing right now, it's okay. What you're experiencing is valid. Wherever you are in this moment, come back to your breath. Notice the sensation of air filling your lungs. And notice the sensation of your breath leaving your body. And when you're ready, take 1 or 2 full breaths and gently open your eyes and return to the room together.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí, y al corazón cántale tu compasión. sopla al volar, sube en la mar, hasta moldear la justicia de la vida. Arraigame, libérame, la fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí.
This month, as we recommit ourselves to supporting all of those represented by the Pride and Progress flags that you see planted all around the church, we share our plate with PFLAG. The message of PFLAG, keeping families together, is one of acceptance, inclusion, and love. This message aligns perfectly with our UU First principle, that we believe in the worth and dignity of every human being. PFLAG's mission lifts up a message of anti-oppression of LGBTQIA+ people. PFLAG offers community support, information, and opportunities for activism to its participants via its board of directors and 16 community groups in the Metro DC area. These community groups help people to understand more about the experience of gender identity and sexual orientation of their family members and others. PFLAG creates compassionate, safe spaces in a world filled with religious and cultural prejudices against LGBTQIA+ people. They also provide assistance and support to trans and other non-binary individuals. You can see Gerda Kieswetter or Elizabeth Fogarty in the fellowship hall after the service. For more information about PFLAG, there's a table with PFLAG and Equality UUCA. And 70% of today's offering will be shared with PFLAG DC, and I hope you will give generously to support their work. 30% of the offering will support our ongoing work here at UUCA. You can give today with cash in the plate, a check, or any of the methods listed in your order of service, or on our website, or on your screen if you're joining us online. However you give, thank you for your support today. We are grateful. Will the ushers please come forward to collect the offering?
Recommend getting your heart trampled on to anyone. And I recommend walking around naked in your living room. Yeah. Swallow it down. What a jagged little pill. It feels so good, swimming in your stomach. Wait until the dust settles. You live, you learn, you love, you learn, you cry, you learn, you lose, you learn, you bleed, you learn, you scream, you learn. Recommend biting more off than you can chew to anyone. And I recommend sticking your foot in your mouth at any time. Feel free, follow it down.
The caution blocks you from the wind.
Hold it up
to the rays.
You wait and see when the smoke clears. You live, you learn, you love, you learn, you cry, you learn, you lose, you learn, you bleed, you learn, you scream, you learn. now.
You're gonna have to eventually anyway.
The fire trucks are coming up around the bend. You live, you learn, you love, you learn, you cry, you learn, you lose, you learn, you bleed, you learn, you scream, you learn, you live, you learn, you lose, you learn, you grieve, you learn, you choke. You learn, you laugh, you learn, you lose, you learn, you pray, you learn, you ask, you learn.
Now please join me as we bless our offering. I'll say the first few lines, and then please join me in the rest, which is printed in your order of service. We bless and receive these gifts, opening our hearts to true generosity. Let us be grateful when we give, be it time, talent, or treasure. Let us be grateful for our needs and the experience of vulnerability. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts to nurture this congregation. Thank you. Our reading today includes two poems. The first is called The Big Bang by Jared K. Anderson. The universe is an ongoing explosion. That's where you live, in an explosion. Of course, we absolutely don't know what living is. We don't know what happens in the gulf between molecules and cells. Sometimes atoms arranged in a certain way just get very, very haunted. That's us. When an explosion explodes hard enough, dust wakes up and thinks about itself and then writes about it. The next poem is called You're Reading This, Be Ready by William Stafford. Starting here, what do you want to remember? How sunlight creeps along a shining floor? What scent of old wood hovers? What softened sound from outside fills the air? Will you ever bring a better gift for the world than the breathing respect that you carry wherever you go right now? Are you waiting for time to show you some better thoughts? When you turn around, starting here, lift this new glimpse that you found. Carry into evening all that you want from this day. This interval you spent reading or hearing this, keep it for life. What can anyone give you greater than now, starting here, right in this room, when you turn around?
Thank you, Betsy, for sharing those poems with us. Let me get some more here. Today kicks off our Six Sources Summer Series. Over the next 6 Sundays, UUCA will explore each source as part of a living tradition of Unitarian Universalism. I'm emphasizing living tradition because we'll be focusing on how the sources help us understand the world and universe within our progressively adapting and responsive living tradition. We'll do this by looking at the sources as they're actually lived, both personally and socially. If you're not familiar with the 6 sources, you can think of them as sources of inspiration for how to live our best lives. They can be described as the sense of wonder we all share, influential people from long ago and today, people whose lives remind us to be kind and fair, the ethical and spiritual wisdom of the world's religions, Christian and Jewish teachings which tell us to love all others as we love ourselves, humanist teachings that rely upon reason and the discoveries of science, and then the harmony of nature and the sacred circle of life. This morning, we're looking at humanism. And the full source reads as humanist teachings which counsel us to heed the guidance of reason and the results of science, and warn us against idolatries of the mind and spirit. And whenever I read this in my head, I see someone like the church lady from Saturday Night Live kind of peering down their glasses and wagging their finger. And since humanism is my thing, that's probably just my brain reminding me to laugh at myself occasionally. So what is humanism? Humanist Richard Norman says, there is no definitive set of beliefs called humanism. There are many humanisms. And I think this is true, especially when looking at lived humanism. For my humanism, there are a few key beliefs. This is the only life we have, and we are responsible for its condition. All humans have the potential for both great good and great evil. Humans and human concerns are only one part of a vast, interdependent, natural universe. The universe is amoral, and we must commit to constructing moral value. And life can have meaning with or without a god or gods, and we hold an agnosticism or skepticism toward supernatural claims. Another way of saying all of that is that we are all we've got. And something that humanism has to answer, and I think that all the sources must answer, is what's going to keep me going at 3 in the morning when I'm wide awake and devastated? My story is one story of how one kind of humanism is lived. And I'm going to tell you about how I ended up in Unitarian Universalism and ethical culture, which is an adjacent religious humanist movement. Because any story is influenced by the identities we hold and the markers of our social location, I want to name that some of my markers include lower middle class, white proximate, Gen X, as you might tell by the Alanis Morissette that we heard this morning, middle-aged, non-theistic, queer, male-presenting, mostly able-bodied, college-educated, childless, English-speaking, New Englander, and American. And there are more, but that'll help frame some of what I'm going to share this morning. I grew up in southern New England. As a youth, I attended a Catholic elementary school and a New England Baptist church. And then in high school, I attended an unaffiliated, charismatic evangelical church, participated in mission trips, and prepared to attend a Christian Bible college. And a little-known fact that I actually shared at the Folklife Festival this past weekend was that I was a Christian mime in Paris for a little while. Anyway, that last church taught that their own exclusiveness interpretation of the Bible was the literal truth. And for me, this meant that the only right relationship that I could have with folks outside of the church was through an attempt to bring them into the exclusivity of the church. In my last year of high school, I started actually spending time with folks outside of that church. And I found that the church teaching didn't align with my own experiences and my relationships. So I severed ties with that church. And this was a big decision at the time, because the teachings and community of this church had provided me with a framework for orienting myself to the universe and the people within it. This framework insisted that my existence relied on an ultimate supernatural divinity according to a restrictive interpretation of Christianity. In other words, the only truth was God, capital G, and conservative evangelical Christianity. Leaving that church meant that my whole understanding of the universe had collapsed. So you might imagine that when I arrived at college, I had a few questions. I soon stumbled upon two schools of philosophy, existentialism and phenomenology, that gave me some reasonable tools to begin exploring some of the deepest questions that I was asking myself at the time. Existentialism's focus on human experience helped me reframe my values in a way that made sense to me. That is, the ability to live a life ethically without supernatural justification. And phenomenology suggested new ways for me to examine and make meaning from my experiences. Together, they provided me with an inward-looking and outward-seeking way to navigate relationships and interpret my experiences. Their emphasis on personal responsibility and social accountability rang true with how I understood myself to be interconnected with nature and society. Although I didn't have language for it at the time, this was my gateway to humanism. In my 30s, something fundamental shifted for me. I think of this period as a dark night. A dark night is more fully called a dark night of the soul, and it's often used with religious or spiritual connotations. It refers to a period of significant doubt that can lead to questioning the certainties that shape our world. My understanding of the world was failing me, and I had to find new ways to move through it. This is a primal deconstruction and reconstruction of how I understood myself, and it felt mythic. Saturn returns is an astrological term that marks the time when the planet Saturn is in the same place that it was when I was born. That's about 29 years, the time it takes for Saturn to orbit the sun. This is Saturn reeling around, getting all up in my face and demanding that I reckon with how I lived in the world. Suffice to say, Saturn is not gentle. And even though I identify as atheistic today, I found these to be rich metaphors for describing this period in my life. They resonate with me as descriptors because the dark night reflects my experience as a human body in the world. And Saturn returns literally marks a place in my lifetime that situates me within the rhythm of the universe. I loved philosophy because I loved playing with ideas and concepts. But during these visceral experiences, ideas were not enough. I think if I had insisted on clinging, white-knuckled, pun intended, to my philosophies during that period in my life, they would have become the idolatries of the mind and spirit named in today's source. I am grateful that I did not. I began to relax my focus on concepts and begin applying philosophy to human activity. I shifted from a theory of humanism to a praxis of humanism. To live into this shift, I sought communities that could make space for the biggest questions that emerged from my experience of being a body in the world. If you're in conversation with me for more than a few minutes, casually or even from the pulpit, you'll notice that I talk a lot about what it means to be a body. I believe that our bodies are our whole human selves. Another way to say this is that our bodies are our soul or our spirit. And over the next 10 years, I participated in and worked with 3 community groups that helped me live into the answers to some of my questions. The most impactful of those groups was a community movement and dance practice that invited folks into expression through nonverbal, free-form, whole-body movement while immersed in music. Some people call that dance. Movement became important to me because I was having a singular, overwhelming, ineffable experience. And this was a space where I could set words aside and express my experience with my body. Throughout my life, music has consistently inspired awe and wonder, a way to feel connected to others and the world. And dancing to music with other bodies in a shared space while expressing my Dark Knight and Saturn Returns carried me into a place that felt transcendent. Being in a movement practice grounded me in my body in a way that playing with ideas never could. And I continued my practice even after I left that specific community. Movement itself is a humanist practice for me. It's a visceral way of living into we are all we've got, embracing responsibility for the condition of my one life by co-constructing meaning and moral value within an interdependent community. And being connected to community is important to me because I believe that congregating is one way we actualize human interconnection within this universe. And when I think of congregations, I actually think of it more in terms of the verb congregating, because that's what we're doing here. Congregating provides a rhythm that helps orient our days and marks the passage of time, inviting us to share witness of life's milestones. Perhaps more importantly, or most importantly, congregating is a way for us to understand how our bodies are in relationship with one another, both personally and socially. And on that note, I want to take a moment and ask you to pause and feel your body. And as you continue listening, just take a few deep breaths at a pace that's comfortable for you. And share your focus between your body and your listening. Around the time I turned 40, I began exploring ethical culture, and a few years later, I began learning more about Unitarian Universalism. Like existentialism and phenomenology, Unitarian Universalism and ethical culture offered me a humanistic framing for understanding our interdependence within the natural universe. And like my movement practice, both offered communities of practice where I could journey alongside folks who are also seeking to construct moral value with this only life that we have. In my continued exploration of Unitarian Universalism and ethical culture through the lens of humanism, I always come back to inquiry. Inquiry is a primary way that I move through the world and understand the world. And some of the questions I ask here include, what kind of bodies and experiences does this space represent? Literally, looking around. What kind of bodies, what bodies are invited to flourish here? These kinds of questions are important if I am to understand where we are and what we can do now to broaden the ways that our living tradition might serve folks whose bodies are not readily reflected in the spaces where we congregate. Folks whose bodies experience the world differently. And I wonder how we can balance our legacy of participating in and benefiting from systems of power with our desire to invite real flourishing. And this leads me to queerness, which has been at the heart of my humanism for the past few years. Borrowing from queer ancestor Bell Hooks, I understand queerness as not being only about who you're having sex with, but queer as being about the self that is at odds with everything around it and has to invent and create and find a place to speak and to thrive and to live. Again, queer as being about the embodied self that is at odds with the systems of power around it and has to invent and create and find a place to speak and to thrive and to live. This is a queerness that asks what it means to be a body in the world, our particular bodies with the missing pieces and the extra screws, as we negotiate systems of violence, oppression, and exploitation. And we do that together, here as we congregate. My queerness asks the critical question, how can we flourish, as a way to contextualize how I myself might flourish? And we heard that a little bit in the story this morning that Matt shared with us about the circles, starting with love and how we expand our circles to include more and more people. If we understand humanism as we are all we've got, then this is the question. And if we can begin to answer this question, we might begin to know what's going to keep us going at 3 a.m. when we are wide awake and devastated because of something that we are experiencing in this world. For me, some answers to that question reside in how I connect with natural beauty and how I situate myself within communities of practice, like here at UUCA. And perhaps most importantly these days, for me, learning how to access joy. Joy is not a frivolous luxury. Joy is a necessity. In closing, I want to reiterate that my understanding of humanism is not definitive. It is only what I've found to be useful so far. It is one humanism. And my humanism comes from my particular story, and it's only one story. I hope you will hear my story as an invitation to consider your own story about being a body in the world and how humanism might inform your understanding of your own story. Maybe you'll find that you are dust waking up and thinking about itself. Or maybe that right now it's enough to notice sunlight creeping along a shining floor or the scent of old wood. Or taking a cue from Alanis, maybe you'll walk around naked in your living room. Or get your heart trampled on because you dared to love. Whatever you do, return again and again to who you are, to what you are, and to where you are, again and again. And I hope you will find in your own story and in the story of others, those are sitting to the left and the right of you, those who are joining us online today, I hope you'll find what helps you invent and create and find a place to speak and to thrive and to live. Thank you.
I invite you to rise as you're able, in body or in spirit, to sing Return Again, number 1011.
Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return what you are. Return to where you are, born and reborn again.
Oh, no, okay. I invite you to join me in our ritual of chalice extinguishing. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light and warmth it represents. These we carry with us, bringing our sparks of love to the world.
If something sparked for you today and you'd like to talk about your own journey in humanism or something from today's service, I just want to remind you that Bill Fogarty and others will be in the boardroom for a chat immediately following the service. Friends, find and walk the path that leads to compassion and wisdom, that leads to happiness, peace, and ease. Welcome the stranger and open your heart to a world in need of healing. Be courageous before the forces of hate. Hold and embody a vision of the common good that serves the needs of all people.
Bones sinking like stones, all that we fall for. And homes, places we've grown, all of us are done for. We live in a beautiful world. Yeah, we do every day. We live in a beautiful world. Bones sinking like stones, all that we fought for. And homes, places that we've grown, all of us are done for. We live in a beautiful world. Yeah, we do every day. We live in a beautiful world. We live in a beautiful world. Yeah, we do every day. We live in a beautiful world. Oh, all that I know, there's nothing here to run from. 'Cause yeah, everybody here's got somebody to lean on.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobbled stones, beneath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share. No one dare disturb the sound of silence. Fools, said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out its warning, and it was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sounds of silence. Thank you.
Let's do it again sometime, huh? Yeah, that was awesome. Good. Try not to leave.